Rebecca Black, Let Her Burn, album review, let's chat about it. Hey friends, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning here tonight to chat about this debut album, which is weird to think about. From Rebecca Black, California-based singer, songwriter, pop artist, YouTuber, former meme. My God, I know I'm getting old, but Friday feels like it was 20 years ago. I don't remember when it actually came out, but it feels like forever ago. And since then, Rebecca was quiet for some time. She put out a couple of singles here and there, but nothing too wild until a few years ago when she kind of, hopped onto this growing trend of very, futuristic pop, hyper pop, your Charlie XCXs, your Caroline Polachek, your Dorian Electras. And for me, it's been a really refreshing change of pace because I think Rebecca has a lot to offer in those genres. And a few years back, she released a kind of rebranded EP, Rebecca Black Was Here, and I was happy to give it a very strong rating. I think it's great. I think that the ballads on there, like Worth It for the Feeling, are really good, but she also had the ability to write a fantastic pop tune still, like you saw on Girlfriend. Overall, it was one of my favorite EPs of the year, and I've been curious ever since to see how Rebecca does with the full-length debut, and it's finally here. And the singles leading up to this thing, I kind of forgot about to listen to them a while back, and they kind of backlogged me, so I decided to go into this album fresh, or as fresh as I possibly could, and it's a fine debut. It's nothing mind-blowing though, but there is a lot to love here, specifically in the first half of this album. Not for nothing, Erase You is a hell of an intro. It's got the slick production, it's got the glistening atmosphere, and Rebecca sounds right on point. It lives up to the hype of this album, and Rebecca here really puts, the sort of hyperpop and future pop worlds on notice with this track. It is huge. It amped me up. It made me want to dive a lot deeper into this album, and for a few tracks, it doesn't slow down. Destroy Me, compared to this album's intro, is much more upbeat. It's much more hyperpop influenced. It's frantic, it's energetic, and very Rebecca Black. It's got some really personal bars, which I love. It also has a big, crunchy riff that rolls in right in time for the chorus. It's exciting. I would put this on my workout playlist. It amps me up. But I also, once again, have to commend her lyrics, which here dive into image and fame and a lot more. It's a nice personal touch. And for a very low-key, moody ballad, look no further than Misery Loves Company. I love the pensive beat here that eventually turns into a pretty sharp groove. And her performance here is one of her most sensual ones, especially on the verses. But the sheer swagger of this chorus, that alone is really impressive. This lives up to the hype and proves that Rebecca has a lot to offer to the modern pop sound. She brings in her own very unique flavor. Plus, it remains, once again, very personal, diving into loneliness. And Crumbs was one of the first singles dropped from this album. It dropped late last year, and it is one of the crunchier and noisier ones here. It's very abrasive, but it's the personality and the swagger that brings this track together for me. This chorus is simply hypnotic, and I wish this was a little bit, that this track went a little bit further. It was a little bit more of a banger, but overall, it is really good. I mean, if you're into any kind of weirdo pop of any flavor, you're going to want to hear this. Rebecca, though, clearly still has a lot of room to grow. Take, for example, Doe-Eyed. Like, this track to me, it's pretty piss poor. This to me sounds like Rebecca Black listened to 3 tracks off of one PC music compilation and thought she could do just that. And the result is pretty underwhelming. It's soulless. It doesn't hit hard at all. This also just comes off like any indie pop songstress trying to get a little weird, and it's very average. And sick to my stomach. I mean, I hate to say it, it's just really bad. This sounds like the worst Carly Rae Jepsen track you've ever heard, and it kills me to say that because at the end of the day, I do feel like Rebecca's heart is in the right place, but the truth is the songwriting here is awful. This is so unbelievably cheesy, and it's not like Rebecca can't write a good ballad either. Once again, Worth It for the Feeling. Yeah, this is bad, and Cry Hard Enough is not much better. This track is just... It's an audible shrug. It's so middle of the road. Her vocal performance is decent, and the blasts of synth that we get at the chorus are actually pretty exciting. But I'm feeling like, I don't know, like she's looking for ideas here. This sounds like a modern hodgepodge of hyperpop. And when the beat drops, it really doesn't do much for me. It doesn't really move me in any way. This is just very average. This is very entry-level weirdo pop. The ideas, the good ideas are here, but she's not pushing them far enough right now. And Look at You, once again, it brings the album down for me. I feel like Rebecca is reaching so much just to get a good ballad here. But the result is so average. And when this track picks up a little, I feel like it loses even more steam. This album started off bursting at all seams with personality, but I can't tell you that this is a Rebecca Black song anymore. But while this album is not perfect, far from it, the potential is here. The potential is here, and it is plentiful. Like, What Am I Gonna Do With You? I think this track is really sharp. I love the industrial-sized beat on this track and just how in your face it gets. It has personality for sure. And yes, there are some cheesy one-liners still that I'd rather ignore. But when Rebecca kind of feels herself and that swagger comes out, I can't say no. And Performer, as a finale, where has this been? The production on this track is so pristine, and there's a drama to this track that I haven't heard on any other track here. The acoustic breaks things up at the chorus. It's really nice. The acoustic breakdown that we get at the chorus definitely spices things up a little bit. And sadly, no, it's not the most memorable chorus here, but I feel like this is a Rebecca Black song. I feel like her personality has come back and come full circle here, and this is just a great finale. This track makes me happy. I wish she took more risks like this. And in the final minute here, the instrumental itself, like, it is so over the top, and it is so epic. I needed more of this. Yeah, this is a very decent debut album from Rebecca Black. I personally would much rather listen to her last EP because there's definitely some down points on this album. Some of the songwriting is a little suspicious, and I wish that she just pushed herself farther, because at the end of the day, while not a bad debut album, this just feels very entry level to me, especially when you have artists like Caroline Polachek, Charlie XCX, Dorian Electra doing a lot more bigger and bolder things than this. This is a fine place to start, but I'm gonna need some major growth, and I hope that she does it, because the potential here, it's pretty huge. It's pretty huge. But for now, I'm feeling a decent 6 on this album. But let me know what you all think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.